even have a nickname. We were nicknamed after beloved characters, but you didn't like me this whole time. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining this video. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sim, and today you're tuning into a story time. I'll be talking about the time I thought I had a friend and it turns out I was my own friend and baby girl basically hated me. Okay, so before I start the story, I just want to disclaimer: if you think this video is about you, it's not. If you think you were a part of these events, you probably weren't. This is basically maybe a made-up story in my head, inspired by real events. Let's start the story. So, background. So I met this person when I was probably like 3-4 years old. I need to name her. Okay, I'm gonna name her Pumbaa. You'll get why I named her Pumbaa as the story goes, but basically because we were inseparable, we ended up being called Timon and Pumbaa. Yeah, so that's why I'm gonna name her Pumbaa. So anyways, I met this girl when I was like really young. We were basically babies. We went to the same nursery school. We lived in the same streets and basically grew up together. So we were friends because we went to the same street. We went to the same crèche down the road. We lived on the same streets. So obviously we saw each other constantly. And then when I started school, so I was older than her. When I started school, I went to a specific school. And then she came to the same primary school afterwards. The next year she then joined the primary school, and then we used the same transport to get to school. We lived on the same streets, we went to the same church. Literally, basically, in my head, we were meant to be, but little did I know, because apparently I have monkeys playing in my head and I make up things myself. Anyways, so fast forward to now me, how I found out that I actually made up the whole friendship in my head. I think it was 2019, probably 2019. I think it was 2019. So beginning of 2019, my mom and I moved from Soweto and we went and moved into our current house. And I basically wasn't around Soweto anymore, so we didn't live on the same street anymore. But now remember, we go to the same church with this girl, and I'll tell the story of my link with church and everything. But I was an avid church goer. I was part of, it wasn't a youth thing, but it was like a tier below the youth, like not children, not my children, but like not teens that are in the youth, that we had space in between. So there was a group there, and we were part of that group. They taught us a lot of the values I still carry today. That's a story for another day. We'll come back to that, put a pin on that. So we were part of that group, and we had been part of the group since I was 12, so she was 11. At this point, I'm turning 22, so she's 21. She's turning 21. I'm turning 22 in 2019. And we're in varsity, obviously, and we obviously accumulated other friends. So there's another friend that's still my friend, still my boo. I love you. Still my friend, still my boo to this day, that we were always with as well. Right? So she was closer to her because they were the same age. They kind of had some common friends that they had, and those friends would like talk to the other one about the other one. And so she, Pumbaa, would introduce our other friend as her cousin to her other friends. So basically everyone thought they were cousins, so everyone thought they were related. So you'll see how this comes into the whole story. So now for this thing to happen now, so beginning of 2019, I move away. But we're still going to church, so I'm still in Soweto every other weekend because I want to go to church on Sundays. I've been meeting up with everyone and it's a joy, right? Because like we've always been around each other, so it's always a good time whenever we're around each other. So that was like a great time always with each other. So then one time, one of the girls asks, where's Pumbaa? And we're like, yo, actually I hadn't seen Pumbaa in such a long time. So now the thing with Pumbaa is she was an avid liar. She lied. Baby girl could lie. Hey, when we say baby girl had lies, oh girl could come up with stories on the spot. So now we had gotten to that point where we're old enough to realize which baby girl can lie. So we don't take everything she says go to, right? So we're all at different institutions, and so the story at that time was she was living with a relative because it was closer to her varsity than her being at home, because she'd have to go through downtown Joburg, and downtown Joburg is not a thing. Downtown Joburg is really dangerous. So she then went and lived with that family member, so she wasn't around often. So we were like, yeah, it's fine, she's not around often. Also, she always somehow lost her phone, so it was really hard to get hold of her 89% of the time. So we didn't know where she was. So we go with my other friend. I need to name her. We name her Queen. I'm gonna name her Queen. I must remember that I named her Queen in all the other story times because she'll come out a lot. So Queen then tries to go to her house, and they're like, no, she's not there. So then it's been like a number of times where we go knock by her parents' door, and like she's just never home. Fine, we leave it. We let it go, and then Queen then hears from one of their other mutual friends that Pumba's pregnant, right? And she's like, oh, I didn't know. And then the friend's like, how don't you know your own cousin is pregnant? And she's like, yo, I didn't know, she didn't mention it. Okay, so then she approaches Pumba and she's like, yo, I heard you were pregnant, what happened? And then Pumba's like, no, I miscarried. And so like now we're all like, oh my god, we're so sorry, that's such a horrible thing to happen to you, we're so sorry. How can we help you? Like, what do you need? What's up? What do you need? And stuff like that. Baby girl would just blue tick and never come back. Right? So a couple months down the line, now at this point, by our calculations, she should be like right about to give birth. And then Pumba's mom comes by Queen's grand's house and is like, no, I heard that Queen's been spreading rumors about my child, this, that, and fish paste, and then it's a whole big thing, right? So now when Queen hears about this, she loops me in, and I'm like, Aibo, what do you mean? What's going on now? How? I thought we were waiting to hear about the pregnancy. He's like, no, she told me she miscarried. We're like, oh yeah, she told you she miscarried. So we thought the baby was gone, right? We all thought the baby was gone. And then Pumba was saying how the mother was so happy that she lost her baby and everything. And we're like, that's such a sad thing, because, you know, that's such a sensitive thing. And also for people to basically be celebrating your loss is like really hard. So we didn't want that for her. And then now we're talking about it. And then baby girl starts sending messages about how we are against her, we don't want to see her prosper, we are the worst thing that ever happened. And then she's like to Queen, also you were closer to me than you ever were to Sim, so I don't understand why now Sim is your number one go-to. Also, you know that I don't like Sim, you know that I've never liked her, she's never been my friend, she's this, that, and fish face. And I was like, so now I'm with Queen and we're going through these messages and I'm like, what? You know, like shock is sinking in like little by little. Like, what? What? And then our other friends are like, no, bruh, you're telling us you didn't know she didn't like you, because we've all known she doesn't like you. And I was like, why doesn't she like me? What did I ever do to her? Also, we've been friends for such a long time, I never expected that she didn't like me. And they're like, nah, she doesn't like you. Apparently you're standing in the way of her romantic life. And I'm like, me? How? So I have a guy best friend. I have a guy bestie. I'm gonna call him Sips from that video of that girl that trended, that kept calling her guy bestie Sips. I was in the shower, so I'm gonna call him Sips. So it's like, no, because her and Sips had a thing, and apparently you were in the way. And I was like, this is news to me. This is news to me. Also, I've never stood in the way of anything Sips wants to do. He can do anything he wants. All I know is I find out about the girls whenever they come by or whenever I get introduced to them. I'm not someone that goes around digging for his love life. I'm not in the way of his life. I have my own, and I keep my own very sanctified. So I'm not. And also, at this point, Sips had dated another one of my friends, and I didn't have a problem with it. So I don't understand why she thought I had a problem with it. So then that thing comes up, and I'm like, oh, that's also just a story. So now she then says, she now drags my whole family into this. And this is when I decided, baby girl is nothing. So baby girl's like, plus Sim and her family will be taking my business and spreading it across the whole streets. Everyone's gonna be in my business, so I don't want Sim in this. I don't want Sim to know anything. Also, there's no baby. There was never a baby. I don't know why you guys are making up stories that there's a baby. So now I'm like, I see the baby story. What do you mean you've never liked me? I'm like, what do you mean you never liked me? We've known each other literally for plus 18 years. What do you mean you never liked me? And she's like, I never liked you. You always thought you were better than everybody else because your parents can afford and don't do this, that, and fish face. I was so upset. I was actually so upset. I was so taken back by that. And it actually hurt me. I was so hurt that I then went on my WhatsApp and I was like, if ever I've offended you and you feel like I'm not a good friend to you and you are like playing a charade of us being friends and the whole thing, please let me know. Because I don't want to be finding out that everyone in the street knows that you don't like me. And that time, you're smiling at my face. And me, I'm thinking everything is good and rosy. I'm thinking there's nothing wrong between us. You and I were basically a pact to the point that we were called Timon and Pumbaa at one point because I was really thin and she was like bigger than me. So whenever we walked together, they called us Timon and Pumbaa. So that's how I called her Pumbaa. They called us Timon and Pumbaa. Like, we even have a nickname. We were nicknamed after beloved characters. But you didn't like me this whole time. You were not my friend this whole time. That really hurt me. Anyways, from that I learned, don't trust anybody. Not everybody's your friend. And I think that was the I want to say that was the peak of me learning about adult relationships and that people will just come and go with the peace. But it probably wasn't. It probably wasn't. But yeah, no, friends have dribbled me in life. Yeah, friendships are hard. Friendships are hard. But I'm grateful for the real ones that have stuck through and stuck with me. But yeah, so that's the story. Hope you guys enjoyed the story time. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for clicking on this thumbnail, and I'll see you on the next one.